He heard a strange noise in his house and found something that scared him out of his wits. Paul Molman was chilling at home watching TV. The Tennessee citizen was the only one around. He was happy to enjoy the comfort of solitude, but then, out of the blue, he heard a strange sound coming from the other room. Maybe something fell, was Paul's first thought. Maybe a breeze blew through an open window. However, he then realized it was something much more dangerous than the sound of nature. Paul Molman was born in New Jersey and moved to the South after graduating from Rutgers University with a degree in engineering. He felt it was time to make a bold move and change his life. Little did he know what was waiting for him down the road. On a bright winter morning of November 2019, Paul was relaxing at home when he heard the noise from his roommate's room. It sounded like something fell, something heavy, he said. But the thing was, his roommate wasn't home. The man got a bit scared and decided to find out what was going on. He couldn't help but open the door to his roommate's bedroom, having no idea about the strange sight that awaited him. Inside the room, Paul noticed a pipe that he didn't recognize lying on the floor. What's more, near it, there was a hole that had been bored straight through to a crawl space under his place. Now the man was terrified. What was going on? With his heart pounding like a stereo, the man peered through the hole and looked into the crawl space. It was the moment when he met with the shock of his life. What he saw there was a single eye looking back.
I look in the hole, and there is literally an eyeball staring back at me. A green eyeball. I could tell through the hole he had no shirt on, no shoes, and clearly a person on some kind of drug.
His biggest fears had become real. There was a person down there. Then he started asking him questions. "What are you doing down there?" he remembers asking him. "Did the landlord call you? Are you here to work on plumbing?" The stranger replied something incoherent, and Paul didn't understand any of his words. It was apparent he was not the plumber. Paul was aware the situation was rapidly escalating, so he decided to take more serious steps to protect himself. The man grabbed his .22 caliber firearm and informed the man he was armed. "I let him know that I have a gun," Paul reflected, "and I said, I don't want to shoot you, but what are you doing?"
Called 911. I said, "This is going to be the strangest call you've had all day, I guarantee it. There's a half-naked man under my house, and I'm not sure what he's doing."
Then he called the police, and the cops arrived straight away. However, even for the authorities, it was complicated to get the strange man out of his hiding place. When they finally managed to do it, Paul was shocked when he saw the man. You see, the suspect wasn't a shirtless white man. Instead, he was black and was wearing a shirt with no pants or shoes. At that moment, I sort of forgot about that part and was like, "Oh, they got the guy. I saw it wrong. They got the guy," Paul reported.
There's the guy who they caught under my house, but then there's also this other guy who I immediately realize is the guy that I see through the hole in a white guy.
Little did he know he was about to face an even bigger shock. The suspect said he'd poured acid on himself. At first, police didn't believe him, but when investigators found a pile of random garments and a bottle of hydrochloric acid, everything started to puzzle out.
The bottle of muriatic acid and realized we were maybe dealing with somebody trying to make drugs or something. There was also clothing. My garden hose was running for some reason. Oh, he tore down insulation. My HVAC unit stopped working.
Finally, after believing that the harrowing story was over, Paul headed to a nearby bar to get a badly needed drink. He started talking with the bartender and told him the story that had just happened. To Paul's wonder, the bartender uncovered worrying information. You see, when Paul showed the bartender a photo he'd taken of the man being caught, the bartender said he recognized him. He further explained that he'd seen him hanging around the bar only last night. And the most worrying was that he wasn't alone. To make sure the man was the same man the bartender saw last night, he pulled up surveillance footage. It displayed two men wandering around outside the venue, the detained suspect and the white guy he'd seen at first. The unpleasant feeling stole over Paul when he saw the footage. He was right, he should have trusted his instincts. Now it was obvious that his house wasn't cleared of unwanted intruders. There were two of them. The man called the police once more and told them everything. Authorities watched the surveillance footage for themselves, then came back to Paul's house to conduct a second, more thorough search. They found the crawl space empty. However, it wasn't the end of the ordeal.
Brand new locks, so I learned the hard way, and hopefully other people never have to go through what I went through.
That night, Paul was going to hit the hay still feeling creeped out, and he tried to convince himself the officials had done their jobs. A few hours later, he woke up feeling unusually cold. The man went to check the wires controlling the house's heating. What he saw next made him utterly speechless. To his dismay, Paul had found the men had cut the wires. He instantly called the emergency repairs in the middle of the night, but decided not to file a police report. Paul believed jail wasn't the right place for those men. They needed psychiatric help rather than a sentence. Police reported the black man had been sent to UT Medical Center due to his erratic and unstable behavior and continued their search for the white suspect. Even though Paul still feels a bit uneasy, he was glad about his reaction and how the whole situation was over.
The eyeball, looking down through that hole and seeing an eyeball flash back at me. Green eye, I'll never forget it. It's the stuff of horror movies, honestly.